Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Real Chat Podcast. Today, I'm joined by a what I'd like to call a good friend, Jessica. She is a psychic medium, a public speaker, coach, and has been doing just tremendous things out in the community. We definitely want to share her story and hear what she has to say today. So, what's up? How you been?
I have been well. How are you?
I'm doing great, and even better now that I get to sit down and finally get this episode done. I know we've been trying to bounce off of this for a few months now. So
Yo, well, you know what? I believe that things happen in divine timing, and honestly, I've got a lot more stuff to talk about now than I did back then. So, yeah.
yes, definitely, and I love that because I've been doing that a lot with a few people lately. We were planning on doing an episode, and we were kind of all new at what we were doing. Just kind of getting our feet wet and figuring out where we land in this. And I've been following your journey, and it looks like a lot has been going on. And I definitely want to say I salute you for all that you've been doing.
Oh my
So
God, thank you.
definitely.
Oh, it's been a
So tell
lot.
us a little bit about yourself. Who is Jessica? In a nutshell.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, Jessica so far is a psychic medium, healer, and transformation and liberation coach. Oh my God, what do I even want to talk about? I do a lot of things. I do all the things. I can even do like clearings and stuff. I've been learning more and more about my abilities as I've been going through this journey. I did start out as kind of like a muggle, if you want to call it that, where I did not believe in this stuff. And now here I am just doing the things. And it's been a
Wow.
wild ride.
So you didn't believe in it. So how did you first realize, that you had the psychic or medium abilities, or this is something, a path you wanted to go down?
Whew. Well, I didn't at any point really like realize I had the abilities. I had to be told by other people who had the abilities who could tell that I had them. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. But really, the thing that got me interested in this is, I'll be like upfront about how I did spend 6 years on and off in a psychologically abusive relationship.
Mm.
So after I got out of that, I was like, well, really, I had grown up being kind of agnostic. There was no religion or anything in my family. It was just agnosticism or whatever you want to call it. But
Sure.
I became kind of atheist after that relationship because I was like, if God were real, then he wouldn't have allowed me to go through what I went through. And
Right.
so I spent 4 years just not believing that there was anybody out there for me, like at all. So, oh my God, wait, today's February 13th. Okay. 4 years ago today is the day when I had an advertisement show up on my Facebook newsfeed that was like, I can draw your soulmate. And I was like,
Wow.
I spent like a half an hour, I think, fighting with myself over paying $35 for a reading. This thing, because I'm like, this is silly. This is stupid. This doesn't make any sense. But I'm like, what if? Like, what if? I think I more so wanted confirmation that there was someone out there, period, and
Mm.
not necessarily like who they were. So then I did it. It was like it was an email reading. They drew a picture of the guy. I mean, honestly, this hasn't actually happened. Now looking back at the part of the email where it was like, if you tell anybody this, it's not going to happen. And I know now that that's like a red flag. That means it's really not legit. But the point is, the description of my relationship with the person made me question. Like it actually resonated with me, and I was like, oh, maybe it is possible for me to find somebody out there for me. And so then I was like, I started Googling psychics and mediums. And then I went down a whole rabbit hole of chakras and Reiki and crystals and astrology and numerology and tarot. And I was like, oh my God, I want to learn all this stuff. I want to learn all
Wow.
of it right now. How do I do that? Like, I want to be a psychic medium. How do I do that? Don't you need to be born with those abilities? And it also turns out that I was, but I shut them down when I was a kid. But of course, I don't really remember a lot of my childhood. So,
Oh
yeah,
wow. Okay. So it
it was
kind
a
of,
whole thing.
it kind of lit a fire. It lit a fire and a passion for something that you're doing today.
Yeah.
So, just by reading a little post or something, something came across your feed, and you're like, oh wow, let me go ahead and dig into this. That's awesome. So
Mm.
what's the most memorable or impactful reading, excuse me, that you've ever given? So is that what you do? Because I watch your videos and I see you always got motivation, you always got um insight into very interesting things, that gives people food for thought, throughout the day. You might
Mhm.
just be scrolling and then they come across your page and it's like, oh, damn, because I know sometimes I listen to it and I'm like, man, let me sit back and think about that for a minute. So,
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I like to hear that actually.
definitely,
Um,
definitely.
so it's funny because like I don't remember most of my readings because when I'm reading, I'm not doing it from my mind. And it's like I'll be just like saying stuff in a reading and then somebody will ask me, "Can you repeat that?" And I'm like, "What did I say?" So, but I have had the readings I think that are the most memorable is I found that everybody that I read for is a mirror to me in some way, shape, or form. Like there
Okay.
is something that I have within me that they need. It's like there's a medicine within me that they need. So it's like I will get people who have also been in abusive relationships. I will get people
Okay.
who also have felt like they needed to hide or be small or not be seen. I've had people like literally just reflecting different experiences that I have had or I've been a part of. And I know that even there have been a couple of times on TikTok live, because I do like free general card pulls every night on TikTok.
Okay. Think we kind of froze for a minute. Let me see how this goes. Wait a minute. This is StreamYard at its finest. I think I lost you. Are you still there? Oh, all
Oops.
right. Nope,
So
that's okay.
my
I lost you.
no, yeah. Well, no, because the it's freaking windy here, and so it took my Wi-Fi out. So now I have it on data, so this should be good, hopefully.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. We'll just tape it
Yeah.
together.
What was the last thing that
So,
you heard?
people taking the same kind of the similar journey. How
Oh yeah, yeah.
your stories are similar.
So there's also this other thing where I've had a couple people, the most memorable ones that I can. It's really just the people. The people are honestly the most memorable, and like I had just even on TikTok Live, which I do every night. I do like a free general card pulls, like little ones
Hmm.
every night, and I've had a couple people express that they wanted a card pull and that they didn't actually want to be alive anymore. And I was like, hold up, okay, no, 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 we're taking this
Wow.
really, really seriously. So, and I've actually been able to help people just by pulling 3 cards for them,
Okay. So is that
and
kind of
I'm
where your
like,
coaching
damn.
ability kicks in right away?
Well, actually, I relate to them because I have a tattoo on my shoulder. It is kind of a way to remind myself because that when you experience the bad emotions, the grief and all that, the despair, that's
Hmm.
temporary. I myself did not want to live back in end of 2018, beginning of 2019.
Okay.
So I also get people who are going through those kinds of things, and I can be like, hey, it is possible to come out of this on the other side because like I did it. And yeah, it was hard as hell, but oh my God. I just I know now that everything that I was experiencing back everything that I've experienced ever in my whole life is for me to learn the lessons and to be able to actually assist people who are going through these situations now and in the
Right.
future.
So kind of lived experience. You have that lived experience, which makes it, um, you know, actually kind of simple. For you to be able to get on someone else's level. Get down to their
Oh
level and
yeah.
meet them where they're at. You meet them where they're at and able to help them that much more, seeing that you have experience, throughout your own, life, to be able to share that with them. And I think that's
Oh,
that's
yeah.
very powerful, because like I said, I follow your journey, and I know you're into martial arts, and
Mhm.
just very determined, and kind of doing all the thing. Actually, I was seeing a post where you just came back from a vacation, right?
I did go to the Dominican Republic recently, and it was super transformative for me, so yeah.
Jumping off cliffs, and I mean, just doing all the
Oh my
all the
god.
craziness.
Look, I grew up pretty freaking sheltered, so, like, there were at least 12 things that I did on this trip that
Nice.
scared the shit out of me. Like, even this was my first time flying by myself, my first time being in an airport by myself, and my best friend is she gave me a ride to the airport, and I'm gonna be honest, I thought I was gonna shit my pants on the ride there because I was so nervous, and then I got
Uh-huh.
inside the airport, and I was like, I felt like I was gonna throw up. I felt like I was gonna pass out, and I'm like, "Just look for the signs. Just look for the signs.
Right.
It's fine. Everything's fine." But, like, everything was so freaking scary, and I'm just like, it showed me over and over and over and over and over and over again that all that stuff is just made up in your mind. Your mind just tries to keep you safe by making everything look freaking scary and keeping you in your comfort zone, but the fear isn't even it's not even real. Like, none of that stuff was going to
Right.
kill me,
Hmm. That's
maybe.
awesome. Cause like I actually, that's crazy you said that because I went on a plane for the first time in December, myself. So
Mhm.
I'm same thing. I'm like nervous. Like am I really about to get on this plane? And then I got on the plane, and when it took off, I was like, this is actually kind of cool. I was like, this is actually amazing. So I was like getting ready
Yeah,
for the
right?
layovers. I'm like waiting to get on the next plane. Like, yeah, let's go.
Oh, yeah, no, my first time on a plane, like, at all was, back in the end of August when I went to Iceland, and that was also
Mhm.
terrifying because I was standing in line to get on the plane, and I was looking at it, and I was like, "Oh, shit. If something happens up there, that's it.
That's it.
That's
Yeah.
it." Like, I'm like, "I've never not been attached to the ground before aside from, like, jumping."
Right, right. Yeah,
Oh,
the
man.
planes, I love them. I can't wait to fly again. It's gonna be a lot of hopefully flying this year. 2025. It's gonna be a big year.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I
tell
hope so
us,
too.
so how do you differentiate between intuition, spirits, or personal thoughts, or is that your thing? Like, is this kind of where you would read into spiritual things? I guess I don't even know how
So
to say it.
Well, I don't know, honestly, none of this stuff makes any sense. It's not logical at all, and that is something that I've honestly really struggled with because as I learned tarot and as I've been learning to trust my abilities, it's been like imposter syndrome like crazy because I'm like, I thought that I was just imagining this. I thought this was just my own thoughts, and it's like it's not. There's a difference between my own thoughts, which I have found my own thoughts are the ones that like go crazy and are like catastrophizing and cycling and spiraling. But if I'm in a reading, it just like pops in and I think that it's me, but it's actually not. And then it's confirmed when I give the reading to the person. So even like the mediumship for me, the way that my mediumship works at this time is I get like an image of the person and they kind of look like they look like a cartoon character. That's
Mhm.
why I'm like, I feel like I'm just like making stuff up, but I'm not because then I describe this person to the person sitting in front of me and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's this person." And even the other day, I was giving a reading to somebody and her uncle came through and he showed me something like it was like an old electronic device. I couldn't figure out what it was. It was like a blue cartoon rectangle with a couple of red circles on it and a couple of antennas. And I was like, I don't know what the hell this is. And she was like, I used to be in radio. And I was like,
Oh, wow.
no fucking way. I'm like, oh, I'm like,
Wow.
I know I did not make that up. So yeah, I'm
Right.
still in this process of like trusting myself. I'm definitely getting better at trusting myself. And not doing the whole like discrediting thing and like blah 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 because I also have people in my life who just like don't believe in this stuff and then there's that part of me that's like, oh, well, I want to be loved and accepted. So let me just like what's it called? How would you say this? Reject that part of myself, which obviously is not what anybody should be doing. And so that's why I'm just
Right.
embracing it at this point.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's kind of you're embracing the process, you're trusting the process, and I guess that kind of goes for all aspects of life. It doesn't matter what you do in life, if you trust the process, the benefits, and you're gonna make your way to the end of that tunnel. You're gonna make it
Well,
through. You're gonna be able
I
to
was gonna say,
help.
oh, go ahead. No, 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 I was trying to finish. I was gonna say, I've noticed recently actually that the entire way that I grew up, everything that I know about life, everything, all of it is being flipped upside down by all of this. Every
Okay.
single thing. So like growing up not believing in like the angels, not believing in spirits, not believing in any of that stuff, or just being like really skeptical about it. And also growing up in a way where it was like you have to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And really it's like what I'm learning now is all this stuff is real and you don't need to constantly be going, 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 going. You can just be. It's okay to do that. It's actually
Right.
encouraged to just be with yourself and connect with yourself. And you're also trained as you grow up to seek external validation and approval. But that's also not what
Hmm.
this is about either. You need to approve of and validate yourself. Like,
Right.
oh, it's been a lot.
So self validation, you know,
Oh yeah.
and figuring out. I guess it's a path that you could take, to help find out who you are as a person. And like you said, with all the things you've been doing, how powerful you are as a person. How strong
Oh
you
yeah.
actually are. So well, what are some misconceptions? Some common misconceptions people have about psychic mediums and tarot card reading and things like that.
Okay, well, the tarot thing, people think that it's demonic, and I'm like, it's not. I've never connected with any demons, so there's that. They think that Mm, they think that the future is set in stone, and it's not because you have free will. We all have multiple timelines to choose from. So if you want to just play it safe your whole life, then you could do that. And honestly, life will probably be really freaking hard if you do that because you're not meant to stay the same. You are meant to morph and change and transform. Um,
Okay.
People also think that well, there are some people out there who are just like open all the time and they just like pick up stuff all the time. But for me, I need to intentionally connect with somebody. So if somebody's like, "Oh, so what can you tell me about me?" And I'm like, "Well, first of all, one, I haven't tried connecting with you to figure that out. But also, secondly, like I'm not a
Right.
freaking circus monkey. I'm not a circus monkey. So like,
Correct. They
thanks."
think they think yeah, that's funny you said that because earlier we were talking a little bit and we were wondering, about when we connected, how we connected. So when we did connect and I came on a show that you had, um, I started the podcast. We were early in the process and I had a co-host who was a pastor. So my
Hmm.
co-host was a pastor, and when I told him that we were going to come on your show because we were going to do it together, and he decided not to. Actually, I think it
Yeah.
was a Sunday morning, so he actually had church that
Yeah.
Sunday morning, and he was like, "I don't want to open myself up to nothing, crazy." And it was funny because the way he was going in, he was like, "Well, I don't want her to tell me I just don't need to read in my future, and things like that." And I
Oh
still
my
to this
God,
day,
that's not how that
it
works.
tickles me, like it tickles me because he's like, "Yeah." I gotta get ready for my sermon this morning, and I don't need that upset in my spirit or something. So I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
So I guess
No,
that's one of
people.
those misconceptions. So
Oh yeah, and it's like people think that like they always want to know like what their future is, and I'm over here like, what do you want it to be? Because
they
again,
wanted to be full of
it's
money,
well, yeah, but it's like they just want to know. They want to know that, and of course, like I want to know too. I don't get to know stuff, and that's the thing is even in readings, sometimes you want information, but you don't get the information because it's not meant for you. Like whatever I
hmm
receive is what I give to you, and whatever I don't get, it's just not meant for you to know. Otherwise, it's going to just completely throw you off of your path. It's going to throw you off of
right?
um your freaking, I don't know, progress if you want to call it
Well, what
that.
life, yeah, like
But
what life is set out for you. I mean, everybody has their path set out. It's how you get there. It's how you get
mhm,
there, what you go through. And that's what I totally believe. I think that we all have a finish line, and it's
yeah,
how
it's
you
not
get
that.
there. What are you going to go through? You know,
I
so
tell
just
people that the finish line is when you die. So,
ah, there you go. Well, I mean, hey,
yeah.
and there you go. I mean, and that makes sense because like when you die, that's definitely your finish line.
Yeah.
And it's like how you're going to get there. What are you going to do until you get there? What are you going to do in life?
Right.
What choices are you going to make? What decisions? And if people are asking you, hey, can you tell me my future? So they could try to manipulate and change that. It's kind of like, oh, well, if you tell me this, then I'm going to do this differently. But then you might miss out on a lot of opportunities in your life, trying to change something that
Hmm.
is part of the process. So,
Yeah.
but okay, so that's pretty dope, actually.
Yeah.
And so what is you know, some things that you talk about when you coach, like when you, because I've been watching, you've been doing some speaking engagements and things, and so are these like pop up um, readings or
Mm.
panels that you're speaking on?
So the most recent one I did actually was at the Awaken Expo in the Plymouth Meeting Mall, and that one was about basically how to navigate the challenges in your life because when you're experiencing conflict with somebody, I have found so far that it's either one, it's like a karmic thing that you agreed to experience before you came here. Two, it's like a mirrored reflection of something about yourself that you need to heal.
Hmm.
Or oh god, what was the third one? The third one was I don't even remember. It was like something about being challenged or so. It's like, so here's an example. When you are in an abusive relationship, there we go. When you're in an
Hmm.
abusive relationship, one, you could have agreed with that person before you came here to experience that. Like with the person I was talking about, apparently I've done this in 3 other lifetimes with him, and I'm like, nope, I'm done. I've
Wow.
learned the lesson now. Thank you very much. So that's cool. Um, of course, he doesn't consciously know that. His soul does.
Right.
But there's also like with being in a relationship where I was constantly trying to seek validation and approval, what that showed me, if I was aware of this back then, it would have been, oh, I don't approve of myself. I don't value myself. Or I feel unworthy. I feel undeserving of an actual healthy relationship. And so it's like everything that you experience in your life, everything is, oh, it's also a challenge. The third thing was, it's like I was saying, it's a challenge to kind of get you to go, to see how far you've progressed in your journey. So like I actually recently had somebody kind of attack me a little bit on the community post where I put a coaching post, and he was
Uh-huh.
basically saying about how he thought it was bullshit. And at first I was kind of irked, but then something hit me and I was like, wait a minute, he's not attacking me, he's attacking himself. He feels
Okay.
like shit about himself. So he's projecting that onto me. It doesn't have anything to do with me. And that
Right.
was
Right.
just so freeing and liberating. Some people might not understand. They'll be like, well, he said this to you and he said this to you. And I'm like, that literally has nothing to do with me or anything that I said. I think the questions actually that triggered him were, oh, yeah, the questions were about taking responsibility for things in your life when you have been blaming everybody else for them.
Hmm. Well,
So
what I
there we
think
go.
is amazing about that actually is, so people like to troll. They get on there, they're trolling, they're just trying
Yeah.
to see who they can irritate, and they're jumping in on their conversation, or something that they're posting. And so I did a panel with a buddy of mine and a couple other guys, couple like a week ago, last week Friday, and we're on this panel and we're talking about recovery and stuff like that. And like I told them, I'm not actively in recovery. I don't go to AA meetings and groups and all that stuff. You know what I mean? But the things I used to do in the past, I no longer do. And so we're having this conversation, and this guy jumps in, in the comments, and he kind of said something about the conversation we were having. It was kind of derogatory, but what I realized is probably about 10 minutes after actually listening to all four of us talk, he started commenting more, asking for help. He was more on board with, hey, so what do I do about this? And what if this happens? But his first comment was kind of like, I don't agree with that. It's bullshit. And as the conversation progressed, he stayed in the comments and he actually watched the whole live, panel that we did. So I'm like, and like he
Nice.
said, this is something that he needed, so he actually,
Yeah.
listening and actually being open minded, he got something out of that conversation. And I think that's
Hmm.
big with what you're doing, and some people having those misconceptions, but if they actually get a chance to sit down and have a conversation with you, then they can understand it better. instead of just, oh, I'm hearing this and see this post and it's bullshit. It's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh my goodness.
Because I know it does.
Yeah, it
It
was.
irritates a lot of people. A lot of people are like, right away, it's like, well, what did I do? I get on here every day and I try to help.
Oh yeah, no, that was like my initial reaction was like, what the fuck? Like, what an asshole. But
Right.
then I was like, wait a minute. Then I was like, wait, hold on. And then I was like, no, it's not even about me. This guy is just he's miserable and he's in pain. And even like in his message, it was like, well, I was talking in the post, it was like saying about how I used to be really bitter and really angry and a lot of pain. Like I was not okay. Really, I was not.
Hmm.
And so he was like basically saying about how it requires discipline and I'm 52 and I'm blah 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 and I'm angry and like and I was like what the hell, and so that's when I was like, oh, it's not even about me.
Right, right.
So
Well, I know you had to be thinking in your head, like, because you're what? You're a black belt, right?
no, what am I, it's like half red half brown, but even then actually I did leave karate a few how many months ago, just a couple
Oh,
months
wow.
ago, and that was a really hard decision for me to make because it's not that there was anything wrong with it.
Hmm.
It's that I realized that with the hierarchy thing and
Hmm.
needing to bow to all the black belts and the yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, all that was just kind of keeping me small. And
Okay.
I felt small and I felt less than. And I was like, shit.
Wow.
Because I didn't want to leave, but I also knew that like with me doing all of this and needing to put myself out there and be seen, and I can't be in
Right.
any situation that makes me feel like I'm
Being
less
submissive
than someone else.
or less than.
Yeah.
Right.
Or
Okay.
that, yeah.
Okay. Right. Oh, wow. Okay. That's actually that makes a lot of sense actually, because
Yeah.
but yeah, so what I wanted to say about that though was like because that teaches you a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
So,
Oh
for
yeah.
this guy trolling you and saying, "Oh, you got to be disciplined." You're like, "Hold on, wait a minute. I got a lot of
Yeah,
discipline."
man.
Like, "Hold on." That's awesome.
I can't just
So,
comment be like, let me come over and kick your ass. No, no, I wouldn't do that,
yeah, right. Get
obviously.
back on there and tell him like, "Hey, I know karate too, buddy. I'm not just talking." So um
Maybe Jessica 4 years ago would have said something like that, but
I was
not
just
not
gonna
me
ask you,
now.
like, what would the Jessica of 6 years ago would have said?
I probably would have said something not very nice.
Just kept going in the comments, So,
I
well,
probably would have fought
so
him.
I'll meet you outside, buddy. You know what I mean? Start throwing out addresses and stuff like you can meet me here. That's funny because I just had some coworkers do that, and we're at work,
Yeah.
and guys like, yeah, come outside. I'm like, dude, we're at work. Like, I was like,
Right.
what are you guys doing? Like, you guys need to knock it off. And he's like, this is my
Mhm.
address. I was like, well, I wouldn't give him my address. So,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
workplace drama. So is there a message or insight, that you feel compelled to share with our audience here on the Real Chat podcast today?
Okay. So, whether anybody believes in any of this stuff or not, I can at least share that there's a reason why shit is hitting the fan, why everything is falling apart. Oof. So, like, if we're going to talk planetary stuff, Pluto was in Capricorn for like 19 years and it shifted into Aquarius on November 19th, which is actually the same day I made the decision to leave karate. So, yeah. Are
I'm
you in
Aquarius.
Aquarius?
My birthday's
That's amazing.
Saturday. Birthday's
That's awesome.
Saturday. Yes.
That's amazing.
So, oh yeah.
So, the when Pluto was in Capricorn, that was more about like structure and government and rules and traditions, things like that. The age of Aquarius now with Pluto and Aquarius is all about empowerment and freedom and being you and like finding who you really are. Like it's all about progression and the future. So if things are falling apart right now, it's because they're really supposed to. Like that's what's happening. And it's also like 2025 is going to be a crazy year in terms of planetary transits. But like if you feel like you don't know what the hell you're doing, or you feel stuck or lost, or like things are falling apart, things are ending because that's what's happening. Everything like the old is coming to an end and it's making room for the new to come in. So if you're struggling, you are not alone. I mean, especially when I give readings, everyone in different situations with different people, different dynamics, but everyone is going through a period of time where things are just the old is not working anymore. Things are falling apart. People are getting divorces, or like somebody dies, or they get fired, or something along those lines, but they're like, what is going on? It's like my life is falling apart. That's okay, because this is just what's actually meant to happen right now. So ride the wave. Don't fight it. Don't think that you're doing anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. There never was anything wrong with you, by the way. Just throwing that out there. Um, but it's because the new is coming in 2025. Also, if we're talking numerology, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 is 9, and 9 is the end of a cycle. 2025 is actually the year of letting go. So 2026 is a 1 year, which is like new beginnings and stuff, which means like if you're gonna really work this year on doing anything, it like let it be releasing your old identity, release the limitations, release the negative beliefs, release the old stories, release the relationships that don't serve you anymore, release the jobs that are freaking draining your soul, whatever
Right.
it is for
Wow.
you.
Wow. I love that. I love that. Very empowering. Um, Real
Mm.
quick before we go, um, where can people find you? You know, where can we find you on social media, emails? I mean, website. What do you got?
Cool. Let's list it out. So, social media. I have Instagram and TikTok. Those are both Psychic Medium Jess K. Facebook, I'm on there too. Just look up Jessica Kozlowski. I think it's like facebook.com/Jessica Kozlowski 888 if you can even spell my freaking name. And um, I have one like website that is eventually going to be going down in probably like July, because it's currently jesscos.com, and it's going to be jessicakozlowski.com. But yeah, so I teach tarot. I'm actually running a 6-week tarot mastery workshop on February 22nd. But my email is psychicmediumjessk@gmail.com. It's all pretty standard. So
Right.
yeah, if anybody wants to just like reach out, you can even just like tell me your story, because I know like it's so healing, and it's just really healing for somebody to hear your story and to witness what you've experienced without judgment, without criticism. I offer a safe space to everybody. And even in my readings, like people will admit to me, they'll be like, I'm cheating on this person. And I'm like, okay.
Right.
Like in my world, there isn't good or bad. I can't judge or criticize anybody for anything, because I know that everything is happening for a reason. What you're going through is meant to help you grow at a soul level. So like who the hell am I to tell someone or to judge someone or anything along those lines?
Right.
So yeah.
I love that. Well, another great episode, with Jessica, and thank you for joining us on the Real Chat podcast. And it was a pleasure to learn more about what it is you do, how you do it, and what the future is going to lie, for you next, and things that are coming up in 2025. So thank you. We appreciate it, and it's been a really great conversation.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun.
Definitely. And we're going to have to do it again, most definitely.
Hell
So,
yeah.
for now, thank you very much. And this has been another episode of the Real Chat Podcast. We appreciate you. We salute you. And we definitely want you to move forward and do more positive things out here in the communities. So, until
Oh
next
yeah.
time, you have a good one.